The project Rule is a game, and it is about migration and illegality, if you say it in a very simple way. I wanted to create a platform actually for a group of people who engage with these kind of problems, but really a platform to speak up, to speak out, and to discuss and to actually relate themselves to each other and to the game itself. The game has a lot of dilemmas. They are questions that are asked by a host, which is me, and the questions are mainly about hospitality on different levels. The things that are mentioned in the dilemmas are also playing in another way in the form of the game itself.
What do you notice when you look at human beings and groups?
What I notice at first is, I'm very sensitive to the social rules of the group. So what is the social glue? Is in this group, maybe in some groups the social glue is making very explicit jokes about sex, for example. In other groups it's being very polite and making a compliment about how you look and asking how you are doing. And these are kind of quite different ways and have very different energies. And some groups are very extrovert and others are much more introvert and waiting and observing each other a bit more. And I think these are the things that I'm seeing the most. How people are communicating and how they are relating to each other.
What do you notice when looking at human beings in this game that you've created?
So Rule, the game, it can be played in very different ways. There is this very strong game element, and some people tune into that very quickly. So they want to have fun, they are running, they are performing in a way. But other groups, they don't do that at all. They are not so eager to play, and they are more like trying to catch what the maker wants. The other thing is then also the level of introversy and extroversy. Are people shy to engage or not? Are they following the rest of the group, or are people willing to stand for what they think, for their opinion? Are they daring to say it or not? Or is there this very strong group opinion that people go into with all of them? And then it's the game has quite strong rules, and I see how people react to that. Some groups are following them very strictly, other groups are trying to avoid and trying to play with the rules, and they are this chain varies a lot. It's quite tricky, this interview, because I cannot tell too much, because if people see it on forehand, it influences the way people behave. So during this interview I'm thinking all the time, what can I say, what shall I not say, how do I influence with my words how people are acting or reacting.
What are your reflections on mini societies and human beings, how they react in them?
I'm very much interested in change. I think this is why I was trying. I'm really thinking about these social rules and how they come into existence, how group rules are shaped and how they can be changed. That you're working in an office in which the atmosphere is very competitive. I mean, the way I relate to you, to the other person, is in a way of who scores the most, who has the most, who's the best. I'm very much interested in how this comes to existence and how it can be changed and what roles people should play, what are the conditions for change to happen, and how this this competitive atmosphere, for example, it defines the relation between people a lot.
I'm curious about, because now you're making this as an art project.
Yes.
You are inviting people, they pay for the tickets. Do you have any visions about making it for real in society, actually making that change that that real change that you are talking about?
I'm really not an activist. I'm an artist, and I'm using the theater space as a more reflectional, experimental space in which thought experiments can happen, and these can be more radical and more fictional and more. This is what theater provides me. To go beyond what is possible, and I think this flexibility of mind is very important to practice in a way. So for me, this art space, it is quite holy, and it's very important for me that art does not completely merge into or disappear into the real. I'm interested in what I as an artist can change in society, but there is also this space that has, in which you don't have to be afraid for limitation. And it is also not utopia, but it is that you, for example, if I ask you a question about how you function in society, if I would ask you this question in your life, then maybe you would panic. Maybe you feel your own limitations and you feel, hey, but I cannot do that. I think that art can be this kind of a safe space in which it doesn't matter if it's possible or how you apply your thoughts. You don't have to think about it, but first you need to feel the possibility, and this could happen in a theater or an art space. Failure, it's not relevant in a pure art space. And I think it is therefore very important to cherish that space. In our thoughts, we can try everything. And we're not, it doesn't matter what it costs, it doesn't matter if it works, it doesn't matter, but let's train our flexibility. I think rule can, or is a space in which change can take place in people. So it is not that I'm going to change something outside, but it is a place where you can become aware of some mechanisms in yourself, or how you are, you can investigate your own opinions in a certain way, or your own reactions to other people, and because it's a playground, this is a safe ground to do that. And I think with this subjective knowledge that everybody who enters the performance gains or can gain if he or she is open to that, you can enter the world again and maybe make different choices. This is what I hope that can happen.